What is going on, everyone? Thank you for clicking on this video here. This is a very current fishing report for Lake Lewisville. I'm in this video. I'm going to be going over a couple baits, things I saw on the water. I was out last night, and it was a very fun evening. Caught a bunch of bass, caught a bunch of big hybrids as well. We're going to get into the baits that I was catching them on here in this video, so make sure to stay tuned. If you aren't already subscribed to this Lake Pro Tackle channel, please consider subscribing, as well as leaving a like on the video at the end if you enjoyed it. So let's go ahead and jump into it, guys. Right now, water temperature varies very differently from back in a creek to main lake. So back in the creeks right now, it's starting to get a little bit cooler. We finally had that little shift where the backs of the creeks stopped heating up super fast and cooling off super fast. So backs of the creeks a little bit cooler than the main lake. Backs of the creeks, I found 67 as the coldest water, and that was in a very skinny area. Didn't last very long. There weren't a lot of fish that were very far back there. Now, that was in the southern portion of the lake. Up north, I didn't make it up there, but I would assume it's going to be around the same thing. So if you have any muddier water, it might be a little warmer, but this was very clear, shallow water in the very back of a creek. I found 67, which I thought was pretty crazy. Out main lake, where I was fishing mainly, I found a lot of my fish main lake. It was 72 as the sun started to go down, and once it got down, it cooled down to around 71, maybe 71 and a half, which to me, that's telling me that a lot of these fish are still in their summer patterns. And I definitely found them offshore. I found them schooled up on some brush piles. Caught a few there. Caught a few fish main lake banks with riprap. So main lake banks with riprap, that's a big key. I caught some fish cranking. I caught some fish on a Nico rig. I caught some fish on a wacky rig. Some on a drop shot. I threw literally everything. I think I had like 20 rods out on the deck, and I was just like running place to place, literally catching fish everywhere main lake. I did not catch a fish farther than about halfway back in a creek. I did see some fish back there, and there were some little ones. I usually don't say I caught fish unless it's a keeper. I caught some non-keepers in the very back of some coves. Certain ones, that small coves, if that makes sense. None of the major coves had really too many keepers that I could find. So it feels like to me, a lot of the fish have gone back and reverted to their summer patterns, chasing bait, just sitting on brush, sitting on riprap, sitting on hard bottom. That's kind of what I found. Some main baits that I was throwing, again, guys, going to be pretty typical for me. A drop shot. You can use a finesse worm. You can drop shot a robo worm. You can drop shot so many different things. I kind of want to break this up into what I know you can catch fish on and what I think you can catch fish on. The tournament coming up, we have a wind shift. This is one major thing to look out for. This video is in regards to the high school tournament coming up in like 2 days. Now, you're going to have a wind shift. Let me double check so I'm not telling you any wrong information here. But I did see a wind shift coming up on Saturday. I don't know if it's in the morning or starting later in the evening. So I'm going to double check here. Give me just a moment. All right, y'all. So I'm bringing it up here. Today is Thursday. It says the high is going to be 90. That's pretty crazy, actually, for where we're at. Late October, basically. Let's see. Here we go. Friday, it's going to be coming out of the south still. And then Friday night, it's shifting to a north wind. That is a major key. We got a wind shift. And then Saturday, you're going to have a north wind, pretty sustained low wind. So it's going to be almost like fishing post-front conditions. However, it's not going to get as warm as it was, which is a nice thing. It's going to be 85. It's going to be a nice sunny day. The main baits I would have tied on would definitely be a Texas rig of sorts with either a craw, like a Z craw, or even Texas rigging a Senko with a lightweight. That is going to be able to just cover a lot of water. You can flip it around. You can cast it around. Very finesse presentation with a Texas rig. I would 100% have a square bill on. Even though a lot of people are throwing a square bill, you can still pick up a lot of bites. Now, I think you'll catch a lot of non-keepers throughout the day on a square bill, 1.5. And I think you know, after 10 non-keepers, you'll probably run into a keeper if you're in those areas that actually have fish stacked up in it. So your success rate with a moving bait, probably not, you know, not the best in terms of catching a bunch of keepers, but I guarantee you, if you lock a square bill or a chatterbait in your hand, you're going to catch a keeper some point through the day, just burning down as much bank as possible. Another top bait that I would have tied on is going to be something like a buzz bait, something that you can move a little bit slower than a whopper plopper, and it's a little more finessey, or even just keep a top water like whopper plopper tied on. I would definitely have one of those. If you find an area that has some good cover on it, like submerged vegetation or submerged brush or hardwood or anything like that, I think you can definitely draw out some bites. Now, I do think this tournament will be a very technical tournament, and that means you're going to have to learn how to cast into those difficult areas and be able to fight fish out of that. A lot of the fish I found in Main Lake were in brush piles. I had to really be careful not to get my stuff too far into that brush pile and try to call them out. If you get your stuff in that brush pile deep down in there, you have a very, very low percentage of getting them back out of that cover. Now, that's not to say you can't throw on some braided line, throw it in there, and just wrench them out. I was throwing finesse gear, and I think going as finesse as you can get might help you a little bit more in the long run, especially for this tournament. Now, with the cold front coming in, who really knows? We got that wind shift. It might just turn the lake on. I've seen days where I fish a wind shift where it literally will blow out of like the north and then totally switch and do like a 180 and come from the south like 2 hours later. And the fish just absolutely go berserk for anything. So if it is like that, it's going to be a really awesome turnout. I do think this tournament will be very, very tough on the majority of the field. I would imagine most people catch a keeper, though. I would say probably 60 to 65% of the field should have a keeper by the end of the day. If you keep grinding, if you're watching this video, do not give up. There are bite windows throughout the day. You're going to have a great bite window early in the morning. You're going to get out there and you should start catching fish. If you're not catching fish immediately, you can make one of two decisions. Run to another area or stick it out and wait for those fish to eat if you know you're in a good area. If you're picking a random bank out of nowhere, I would probably go with the latter. I would choose to stay there, grind it out, because those fish should eventually show up somewhere in the day. Most of this lake has a bunch of fish. They're just very specific on what they want to eat and at what time they want to eat. So make sure to look out for that. There's so many different lures that you can catch fish on. A swim jig, a chatterbait right now, a square bill, shallow diving crankbait, medium diving crankbait, deep diving crankbait even. They are on literally everything. I caught some off boat docks. I caught some off brush. I caught some off banks. I caught some literally everywhere. So I am wishing you the best of luck. If you have any specific questions, I don't know if you can. No. Well, if you're fishing the tournament, I'm a captain. I guess you can technically ask. But hopefully I covered everything here. Trying to think. Lighter line the better. Get finessey. Use smaller hooks. Oh, more lures. Literally whatever you want. I can't give you like a list of lures that I know will work better other than like a drop shot or like a square bill. I also did post a fish tip over at fishtips.com where I did list off my top crankbait choices to get bites during this time of the year. It is available if you want to go check it out. Probably not going to give you enough time to order them and get them by then. However, I will say, for those of you who are fishing the North Division on Lewisville in November, I would definitely look out for another video. Those crankbaits will still play over at fishtips.com. Maybe I'll do another one as well. But guys, I hope you enjoyed this video here. Of course, keep up with the Lake Pro Tackle family on YouTube here by subscribing and leaving a like on the video if you did enjoy it or this did help you. So guys, thank you so much for watching. We'll see you next time at Lake Pro Tackle. See you guys.